They've won Tonys and Oscars and Emmys and Grammys. There's no red carpet because they're home in their jammies. From Melrose Place to Broadway to Janeway and her crew. Let Seth and James bring all the stars to you.
Anywho.
They're entertaining everyone, so who's gonna grouse? Just sit right back and you'll hear some tales on Stars in the House.
Me.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm James Wesley. This is Seth Rudetsky. And yes, our Wi-Fi is yet again not great.
We're having a breakdown every show, but whatever. It's all good. It starts in the house. We are raising money for the Actors Fund. We began mid-March. The Actors Fund. Now, by the way, tonight was supposed to be the Next to Normal reunion. One of the actors had a writing workshop that was going to conflict. So we want to have everybody do it. So it's now September 15th.
Right.
So we've now made it the Sideshow reunion. Another amazing show with unbelievable stars. So we have both.
And
stars
we will
here.
be closing out the show with Alice Ripley singing.
Well, you'll see what it is,
but it
there's
will
going to be music in it. So everybody chill. Anyway, okay, so Sideshow tonight. But what is the Actors Fund, James, that we're raising money for?
The Actors Fund is a national human services organization that basically helps anyone in the performing arts behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. I don't know if that's the correct.
On stage, off stage.
On stage, off stage.
In front of the camera, behind the camera.
Oh, that's cute. Anyway, we are well over $450,000 raised for the Actors Fund.
Just from you guys. We don't have any corporate donors.
That's actually funny. No, we don't. And every penny raised here goes to the Actors Fund. So,
and the Actors Fund, by the way, the Actors Fund helps pay people's rent. I mean, it's just direct cash. It pays your rent, medical bills, groceries, and also, by the way, help you get health insurance. A lot of people are having major problems with health insurance because they changed the rules and prices have really gone up. So if you need any help, if you're in any aspect of the arts, whatever you do, ballet teacher, wedding singer, whatever you do, go to actorsfund.org, ask for help. If you can give some help, please donate. $5 is the minimum just because of the way the site works. You go to starsinthehouse.com, donate whatever you can. You're going to immediately get a receipt. Forward that receipt to donations at starsinthehouse.com, and I will send some of those names and donations to Alice or Emily, and they will read your name out loud in character. So that means Emily's going to be very forward and sassy, and Alice will be reserved and shy. So anyway, anybody Sideshow fans? Okay, so you forward the donations to donations@starsinthehouse.com.
And you can text Fund 2020 to 56512.
And then forward that receipt to donations@starsinthehouse.com.
So some business here. If you haven't already, please subscribe.
If you can, you need to, because the more subscribers, the more subscribers we have, the easier it is for us to get big stars. So if you're watching right now, subscribe and follow us, Twitter and Facebook. It's @StarsInTheHouse.
And we do have, by the way, we're gonna 2020 census.gov. If you have not filled out that census, and if you have not asked your friends and family to do the same, please do so.
Yeah.
It is vitally important.
Yeah, that Black Theater United, Audrey McDonald, LaShance, they've all been on, and that is their main focus right now, is filling out that damn census. So do it ASAP.
And if you have a young person in your life, pollhero.org. There's our dog barking. Seth, why don't you go get Mandy? Pollhero.org, and their mission is to sign up as many poll workers as possible to basically take the place of all the senior citizens who are not going to be able to work the polls. So pollhero.org. They've only been around for a month. I know they've signed up 5,000 poll workers so far nationwide. And so please keep up that work. We're going to have someone from Poll Hero Project here every day beginning on, well, believe it or not, Tuesday, September 1st. Beginning on Tuesday for the month of September, the way we did for Black Theater United. We're gonna have someone come on at the beginning of each show. Today, before Alice Ripley and Emily Skinner come on, we have From When We All Vote, Crystal Carson. But first, before we bring her on, there's a video. I have not looked at it first. It is a nonpartisan group. Crystal will talk about it, but I think this video will help explain it a little bit too before we bring Crystal on.
Why should I vote? Nothing ever changes. The system is rigged. Why bother? Whether you're trying to get dinner on the table after working a double shift, dropping baby off with grandma, or studying for exams, voting can feel like the furthest thing from your mind. You might even feel like it's just not worth it. But that's exactly what some people want you to think. The truth is, when we stay home, things stay the same or they get worse. But when we all vote, We get new ideas and new energy. We get leaders who share our values and listen to our voices. That's how we change America. And that's why it's so important to register right now and vote this November. And in every election, go to whenweallvote.org or text We All Vote to 97779 to get started, and know that your vote will make a difference. Be sure to get registered and get to the polls on November 6th.
And with that, let's bring on Crystal Carson.
Hi,
Crystal.
Hey, everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you, Seth and James, for having me on tonight.
So how does your organization help basically get people to vote?
Yeah,
what do you guys do?
Thank you so much. And wow, way to make me come on right after the former First Lady, Mrs. Obama. She's such a tough act to follow. I will say that a couple of things were on that video. It said November 6th, but the election, that was from 2008. The election was November 3rd. So I want to make sure folks know that at the top, very important. It is Tuesday, November 3rd. But When We All Vote, it's a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization. We were launched by the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, and we're really on a mission to change the culture around voting and increase participation in each and every election and close the age and race gap. And Mrs. Obama is joined in this effort by her fellow co-chairs, including Tom Hanks, Lin-Manuel Miranda, which I know folks know who he is, Janelle Monáe, Chris Paul, Faith Hill, Selena Gomez, Liza Koshy, Megan Rapinoe, Shonda Rhimes, Tracy Ellis, Kerry Washington, and Rita Wilson. So all of these forces have come together to help us and our mission. And people ask, what is changing the culture around voting? What does it actually mean? And it means reaching people where they are, whether they're watching sports, cooking shows, whether it's the broadcast community, Broadway community. We want people across the country to talk and feel proud about their right to vote. And we want them to spread that message, family and their friends and their coworkers and their cast members, just everyone. We want voting to be normalized in a way that people are doing it every single election, whether it's a presidential election like this year or it's in it's a midterm election. In 2016, 100 million eligible voters did not cast their vote. That's 100 million missing. I know, missing from our democracy. We just, and on our end, we really feel that, it's important that everyone understands the power of their voice and their vote. When we all vote, we can build the communities and countries we want to see. There's a lot happening right now. And a lot of the issues that people are voicing out against are issues that can absolutely be determined by the leaders who are in place. Some people think that their vote really doesn't matter, but, the 2016 election was decided by 80,000 votes in 3 states, with Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. 3 states helped determine the 2016 election. And so we're fighting, right now, I'm giving you guys a lot of numbers, but I'm just trying to understand that 1 out of every 5 eligible voters are not actually registered. So When We All Vote, again, are working really hard to meet people where they are and help them register in fun and different innovative ways. We've held virtual couch parties, is what we call them, where people come and join and hear from Michelle Obama, and Meghan Markle joined us 2 weeks ago, Tom Hanks, Rita Wilson, and we were able to reach millions of people through texting campaigns where we're sharing resources on how to get registered in your state. How do you once you're registered, if you're interested in voting by mail, how do you do that? We worked with MTV where we held a prom for students. It became a virtual prom. It was supposed to be, we were going to be doing tricked out fun, different proms across the country, but we ended up making a virtual prom where 35 young people actually attended and started their voter registration process. And more than 150,000 people have registered to vote with us so far. We're hoping to register 100,000 more in the next month. We're really focused on, we really want to ensure that Americans everywhere understand the power of their vote and their voice. So that's why we choose, and we're working with artists and celebrities and businesses and communities and organizations and more to help motivate people to get registered to vote. And then, eventually turn out and vote. And in some places, like North Carolina, you can already do that. So we're really focusing and pushing to make sure people really understand how important this is.
Well, Crystal, I was going to ask you that, because normally during the summer before an election, people register other people to vote, whether it's at a subway or a bus stop or at a county fair or all these different places, and those they're not around right now, or it's not, people don't feel safe doing that. So you kind of answered my question, which was how are you making it work? But are you seeing people registering to vote at a lower rate than, let's say, in 2016 or 2018?
Yeah, I mean, and I will say that they have seen registration numbers are a little down. Similar, you'd mentioned the census earlier, which is another very important thing. If you have not filled out your census, please do so. Numbers are down, and part of that is for the reasons that you said, is individuals do these, and usually organizations like When We All Vote are holding events in person to help get people registered. Today, we actually did do our very first in Raleigh, North Carolina. We did our first in-person event where we did a food drive and a voter registration drive, all COVID friendly, all COVID safe. We're likely to do more across the country. Our co-chair, Janelle Monet, gave us, set the example and did these in Atlanta and also in LA, and they turned out well. We know that people across the country are faced with issues that we've never seen before. So, and including food insecurity. And so When We All Vote decided that we wanted to try to help people and make sure that we're reaching them with not only the resource of food, but also the resource of voting and registering. Because again, even, the decisions that are being made now and today are all decisions that happen at a local level. And so we want to make sure that people actually understand that and understand their right to vote. We're really working to educate them on that. And our two calls to actions are, for now, are really to register to vote, number one, and you can head over to whenweallvote.org/VRH to do that. If you go to whenweallvote.org, it'll take you on that page as well. Register to vote. If you're already registered, check to make sure you're registered again. And just to ensure, because, there with laws and different elections that happen, sometimes people move and they may feel that they're registered, but they're actually not registered. So always important to double check, and then make a plan to vote. And so whether you're planning on voting by mail or actually going to vote early, it's important that you understand, if you are going to vote by mail right now, which people are curious, and there's a lot of confusing information out there. They're curious, is it secure? Yes. Is there a fraud problem? No. You're more likely to be struck by lightning than to experience vote by mail fraud. However, if you are doing that, we do encourage you to request your ballot. Another thing you can do on our website, our voting resource hub, if you go over to whenweallvote.org/VRH, request your ballot. Once you get your ballot back, take your time. We have a tool on our website where you can actually review your ballot and see what's on there. Take your time to fill it out, complete the instructions just as it asks, whether they're asking for you to use a blue pen or a black pen, make sure you're taking the time to do that, and then turn it back in right away, put it back in the mail and get it back out right away. And if you decide that you'd rather go and vote, go early. We know that a form of voter suppression can be going to your polling place on November 3rd, and perhaps there are long lines. And so the way to get around that, if you don't, for example, if you have, you'll have to go into work on the day of November 3rd, is going out and voting early. So we're really encouraging people, no matter where they are, to really make a plan to vote now.
Yeah, Crystal, we want you back. We want When We All Vote to come back. You're welcome anytime and every day if you wanted to. But I have just a quick question, because I know people are waiting for Alice and Emily, but
absolutely don't want to keep people waiting. Absolutely not.
But is there any discussion about literally having volunteers on election day? Because some people only feel comfortable going on election day and casting the vote in person. Has there been any talk about volunteers actually handing out N95 masks to people?
Yeah, so it does depend on the state and the area that you're in. And I will say that I know that there are some places across the country their local leaders are planning to have those types of resources on site, but it all depends on where you are, the location you're at. We recommend checking in with your local state, checking in on their websites, the Board of Elections websites, and checking to see for that very information. You know, I can say again, When We All Vote, we're very safe, and we're always prepared, and we're doing, you know, we're providing masks at these events that we're doing locally, but you should always check before you go out. That's all about making a plan.
Yes. All right, Crystal, thank you so much, and thank you for all the work all of you are doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it having us on.
Absolutely.
Bye. And someone just made a comment, and I agree. Keep checking that you're registered. People are being removed from the rolls. It really is true. It's happened to people that I know. You've got to, even though you're registered, you really have to check whether you are or not.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to get rid of this because we are moving on to the entertainment portion of our show.
And it seems like tonight is one of those nights where our dog is going to keep barking incessantly. So Emily and Alice, if I get up, it's only because of the dog, but I know your dog loves her.
She's like vegetable obsessed, and she thinks it's like a cucumber waiting for her.
Seth ate before the show, and he eats a lot of vegetables. And if there's like a little bit of something on the counter, the dog goes wild.
Wow, she's annoying.
Go ahead, Seth.
Anywho, please welcome two ladies. The talent level is so.
There you go.
It's so off the chart. I'm going to introduce them in alphabetical order. Please welcome Alice Ripples and Miss M. Skins.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi, you guys.
I have known you guys for so long. I was just thinking, like, Emily, I met you first when you came to my apartment because you went to Carnegie Mellon. My friend Jack Plotnick said Emily Skinner is the most talented person I've ever worked with. And that's what he literally told me. And you came over, and I was like, I agree. And Alex, I guess I met you maybe like 2 years later. But the two of you hadn't worked together until Sideshows. For people that don't know, Sideshows is a musical by Henry Krieger and Bill. I keep wanting to say Tom Ian because of Bill Russell. And Bobby Longbottom directed it, and it's about two real-life conjoined twins, Daisy and Violet Hilton. And they decided to make a musical of it. And I did the very first reading with Emily Skinner and Lisa DeSimone. Do you remember that back in the day?
Yeah, amazing Lisa DeSimone. Yeah.
We had to like walk upstairs and these like rickety rackety rehearsal place.
I think it was at the old Playwrights Horizons rehearsal studio. I think.
Before renovation, I remember the staircase was super scary.
Yeah.
And then Alice
came a steep and very narrow stairway to.
And I remember when they were casting, Bobby Longbottom was like, I have to find someone with like something like the voice of Betty Buckley and the acting chops of Winona Ryder. I don't know why he chose Winona Ryder, but I remember that's what he said about you, and then he found you. So talk about Emily. Do you remember auditioning for Sideshow?
Yes, I do remember auditioning for Sideshow. It was because I auditioned for the reading of Sideshow. It was just sort of developmental readings early on, and I went in and they said, sing things that have meaning for you. You know, usually in auditions, they're like, you want a 16-bar cut of an up-tempo, and then they want a ballad or something like that. And this was, they really wanted songs that were meaningful, which I don't, maybe they're going to find out something about you based on that. And I went in and I sang, God, what did I sing? Oh, I know. I sang Shug's song from Color Purple from the movie. And then I sang, there it is. Sister. Yeah. Sister. Yeah. And then I sang a bit of a ballad. So, and it was a nice normal thing. And I heard the description of it was a show about Siamese twins, and I thought, what the fuck is that? Okay, why not? And I went and auditioned, and it was for Bill, Henry, and Bobby, the three of them behind the table.
Yeah, because conjoined was not quite hip yet. That people were still calling it Siamese.
Right, yeah. Siamese twins. Right. And if people don't know about theater, shows begin in workshops and reading. Well, like developmental readings, and then bigger readings, and then workshops, and oftentimes things are recast and recast and recast. And Emily, you kept the gig. But first it was Lucy DeSimone, and then it was Kate Kaufman / Kate Chapman, and then Alice Ripley. You came along. So Alice, do you remember your audition? You had done Tommy already, I guess, right? Yeah, you had done Tommy, maybe Les Mis even at this point.
Tommy, Les Mis, and Sunset.
It was post Sunset. Wow. Okay, so but you were known as a kind of a soprano because of Sunset, which is so funny. Did you come in and belt for a Sideshow?
I think so. Yeah. It was one of those things where it seemed right away to me that it was rock music. And I remember the audition very well. I do. I remember being in that. Was it NOLA? Were we in NOLA or Shetler?
One of those.
And Emily, first I sang, and there was Henry and Bill and Bobby and Herschel maybe. And Emily came in, and she stood next, when I talk about Emily, I go, which is the opposite of what you're seeing. It's actually over here. And I'm like,
move you.
And
hold on. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, it was kind of like, Emily, there you go, Emily Skinner. And so it was one of those magical moments. It really was. Like, you can't really understate it or overstate it or whatever it is. You can't really. It was a remarkable moment where when I sang, I sounded better with Emily singing with me.
It's funny because when Alice came in, I had seen Tommy. And she was in the ensemble for Tommy, but the day that I saw Tommy, she was on for Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
And I remember sitting in the second balcony or whatever and going, that girl reminds me of me. And then Alice showed up at this audition and
awesome.
And she walked in the room and I was like, that's the girl. Oh my God, that's the girl from. So that's my weird.
Back in the day when I was actually a girl. No, that was
killing it. You should have seen Alice as Mrs. Walker. Oh my God.
I just kind of went, did a Joanne Worley on it. Back then it was 1992 when we did Tommy. It was 95 when we were doing the workshops, right? Or 6 for Sideshow. And believe it or not, that was still kind of new. That thing that Patti LuPone did before anybody else, and Laurie Beachman and Elaine Page, I mean, Jennifer Holliday was doing it too. We were all trying to sing like her. And it was that rock and roll meets musical theater. You're at the top of the staff, and now it's kind of business as usual. But back when we were doing Sideshow, it was still kind of new. And it's bona fide rock music, I think. And there's only one way to do it, which is so, it was quite a challenge. And it really, I'll never forget the experience. And I'm really grateful for it because it forges this thing in you. This, I remember looking at Emily going, oh my gosh, I had no idea we could pull this off. We really pulled it off. We made people believe that we were twins. Not us. I mean, it was the whole team that did that made it happen. But it worked. People still think I'm Emily, and I love it. I love to trick people.
Emily, what was it like? Emily, what was it like?
Emily Skinner, to sign your name.
During the rehearsals, Emily, were you guys tied together just to kind of feel what it was like, and then they with ribbons or something just to feel it, or were you always just physically standing together and that's all?
What we had?
Ribbons
Greg Barnes was our costume designer, the amazing Greg Barnes, and Bobby, our director, had him sort of mock up a corset for us that we used for 2 or 3 days early on in rehearsal. Is this right, Alice?
Yeah.
It was only 2
I
or 3
remember
days.
It was a corset for 2 people.
It was a corset that was basically sort of tied together.
And I think Darlene, and Greg together, they pulled us into this Darlene. We miss her too. But I remember I specifically
3 days in early.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember one day when we were really working on the movement, because it's interesting that experience of being in that corset together and the room in 890, which is where we were rehearsing 890 Broadway, it brought up these questions of, there must have been a moment where Daisy started to move and Violet didn't know she was moving, and you get caught in the middle doing something. And so I remember it bringing up questions of, whose idea is it to move? Do we get the idea at the same time? Do you tell me? Do I sense it? Do I not? Because that's what Leave Me Alone was kind of that joke about, the push me, pull me. Hello, I was in the middle of doing something and you didn't tell me you had to get up and go answer the door or whatever. That day wearing that corset, those couple of days, right, Abs? Remember that? It really kind of refined that movement and the impulse behind it, which I think is that's what rehearsal's all about. I mean, it was so much fun. Of course, we were exhausted by the end of the day in rehearsals. It was see you later. After 8 hours of sweating on your face, I think I'll be see you tomorrow morning at 10.
Here's the interesting part of that. I had been doing Jekyll and Hyde, And then I left Jekyll and Hyde once we, before we did the show. But during the workshop period, Alice was doing Sunset Night. So we did this, month-long workshop,
That's right.
10 to 6 every day. And then Alice would go do her show at night.
Hey, you
I
were
don't know
doing
how
double
you did
duty.
that.
You were doing double duty for a while, and I was doing double duty during the workshop. Little did I know it was the tail end of the run, I think, of Sunset, I'm pretty sure. But it was 2 months. I want to say it was 8 weeks of double duty.
Yeah.
Hope I don't get busted by equity, but where you get to rehearsal by 10 and you work till 6 and then you go do your show and then you get up at 8 and you get to rehearsal by 10 and you don't have the same day off.
Yeah.
So you get 2 paychecks, but you don't get a day off, and you're like,
you didn't have a day off for like 2 months. And I remember thinking, I don't know how she's
I don't know. I
doing
remember
this.
I used to take Alan Campbell and I used to stand opposite each other in the proscenium at the Minskoff. He was over stage left, I was stage right by the curtain before we went to take our bows for Sunset, and he would take a melatonin. Before the curtain went down, when we were getting ready for our curtain call, we were, the last scene, she was like, I'll be mad. And I popped this thing called Nature's Secret, which is mostly like valerian root and something else and some kind of herb, because I'm like Miss Herb lady, hippie lady. And Alan's like popping the melatonin. We're like, because then this is so romantic, right? How I live the high life as I get on the bus. I walk to 9th Avenue to take the bus down. And as I'm on the bus, I'm starting to get sleepy. So that's what I did. That's how I made my way through that schedule, because it is grueling. But luckily, my husband was on the road and all I had to do was play with my cat. That was the only thing I had to do outside of my job obligations. But yes, the things you can do when you're young.
Yeah. I know. Well, by the way, speaking of you guys being in sync, look how fabulous you are. Here's part of your sassy Egyptian dance.
We're both sweet and understanding. We divide the pie. We see eye to eye. We're never, we shall be forever. Lovey-dovey all through summer, winter, fall, or spring. We're united through every season. We're delighted, you know the reason. You can share too, there's nothing to it. So prepare to watch how we do it.
So cool.
I'm so glad you stopped it when you did, because we were about to come apart.
That's right.
We only came apart like twice ever.
That's right.
Please don't go back and play it again.
And once was in that parade. The wind blew us apart.
Because I think when we came apart, there was somebody behind us with a sign that said, "Hi, Boopsie," that you could only see because we happened, and the camera just happened to pan. I mean, I didn't have to tell you that, but isn't this what you want to hear? Like the little tidbits that you know. You can win a Trivial Pursuit contest someday with that. First of all, it was like 20 degrees when we filmed that. We are singing live. It's like 7:30 in the morning, and we're singing to a track that we can't hear. Okay? We deserve a round of applause now, 20 years later, 25 years. I don't even know how anybody does that. Seriously, how did we do that? We're singing live. I don't know how. Because it actually sounds pretty good. It doesn't sound like I'm as panicked as I felt inside. I was doing it.
No,
you're freezing your ass off. Excuse me. You're freezing your butt off.
But by the way, I've known you for so long. I know that you came apart, and of course, I have that clip. I have to build up to it.
Don't show it.
But it was the day that the balloon fell off because the wind was so. That's why you came apart.
That's right. Well, the most exciting time when we came apart was center stage. When I looked over and Emily's head was down here, the top of her head was right here. And I just grabbed her. Your arm was probably still dislocated. I pulling you back up again. Oh, it was, I don't want to point the finger, but it was a set mishap.
There was a piece of furniture that was supposed to come together and lock, and then we stood on it and it rotated. And I guess it didn't fully lock. And we got on it and it started to separate.
That was scary. And then one time, remember the staircase?
An entire audience go, oh.
Yes, remember the Busby Berkeley staircase that we had? It didn't light up, but it was this impossibly steep staircase, and it was cut the next day. that happened in the staircase too. I looked down and your head is here, and I'm going, oh God, why is this happening to me?
Well,
You just keep thinking of the money that you're making every week. $2,000, $2,000 or whatever.
I want to mention the separation before I show, just because I cannot. The one thing I can't stand is people that really don't know facts and are spewing them haughtily. So I know, Emily, you told me people were constantly like, Emily, I saw the Velcro. I know you got. Didn't they always accuse you, Emily?
Oh, don't you ever
Yes.
say that to
Yes.
us.
Pretty much.
We'd come out of
I
the
would
stage
say-
door.
I would say every time we went out the stage door, people were like, we saw
People were
the.
like, we saw the
saw-
Velcro. We saw the snaps.
You
I'm like,
didn't.
you know what?
You
Snap
actually
this,
didn't.
mister.
No.
Snap your own Velcro.
No, they literally
Because
just together. But anyway, here's the devastating separation I was talking about, and it's right when the camera hits. Ah, so infuriating.
oh my God, I had to bring it up. I had to bring it up.
Hit it.
Why did I
There it
say
is.
something,
There
Emily?
it is. There it is.
Just somebody tell me to shut up.
Listen, we've got to bring on Dr. John LaPook. So we're going to take our medical break, talk about COVID and whatnot.
Send those donations in.
Oh yeah, donations.
By the
Thank you for
way,
sending them
that's
so much.
right.
Keep them coming, and then eventually
Actors
send them to
Funds.
Alice and Emily. So keep donating at startsinthehouse.com. Keep forwarding at donations@startsinthehouse.com. Alice and Emily, go take a pee break. We're going to talk to the doctor. We'll be back in a moment. Bye, guys. And Dr. John LaPook, CBS Chief Medical Correspondent.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
We're okay. How you doing?
So conjoined twins, Chang and Ang Bunker. Mo Rocca did a wonderful podcast about that. For those of you out there who have not subscribed to Mo Rocca's podcast, go subscribe and listen to it. It's fantastic. I have a little partner where I'm talking medically what goes on with conjoined twins.
Wow.
Wow.
So fascinating. Dr. LaPook, I wanted to talk to you because we were talking yesterday about colonoscopies. It's not COVID related, but I think it's very appropriate with what's going on.
Right. So Chadwick Boseman, what a shock to find that out. 43 years old, and he was diagnosed 4 years ago, so he must have been around 39. And I have to tell you that we know that Black people have a higher incidence of colon cancer. When they get it, it tends to be more deadly. They have a higher mortality rate. They tend to get it at a younger age, and it's farther progressed at the time of diagnosis. So this is just so sad. Even with aggressive screening, the normal criteria that are out there, if you're at average risk, we say start at around 50. The American College of Gastroenterology says if you're African American, if you're a Black person, you start at 45 because of this increased risk. And because colon cancer in general seems to be getting younger and younger, the American Cancer Society says 45. So the bottom line for it all is everybody out there has got to think about screening, talk to your healthcare professional about it, know the symptoms of colon cancer. So if you have stool that's changed, a change in caliber, you could have constipation, you could have diarrhea, you could have blood in the stool, and blood can be red blood, or it can be black or dark, bloating, abdominal discomfort, weight loss, of course, or if you're just feeling fatigued, you could have iron deficiency anemia because you could lose iron invisibly from a bleeding big polyp or a bleeding cancer. And so when you get iron deficiency, you can become anemic because of that. So, and now I know everybody out there, we all have a few days of diarrhea or constipation, a little abdominal discomfort. So we're not talking about 1 or 2 days, but if it's something that's persistent, you should talk to your healthcare provider. I would say also in terms of the blood, if you notice blood even once, I would talk to your healthcare provider about that, because we're finding in younger people, the cancers tend to be on the left side, which means closer to the end. And the closer it is to the end, the more it's likely, if it does bleed, that it'll actually come out red because there's less of a distance to go. So, but bottom line is, it's just terrible, terrible news.
Well, you mentioned you got it at 39, and my good friend, am I echoing on you? That's weird. My good friend Jeff Sable's wife also was diagnosed at 39. So why can't people just like in colonoscopy at 30? Like, why the hell wait? You think you could wait 5 years?
It's all risk benefit, Seth. So people have looked at this. It was even a big argument to go from 50 to 45 because you're going to be doing a lot of people who are going to turn out to be fine. And in a lot of if you do a lot of people, there's going to be it's a very small complication rate, but it does exist. And also it's an expense of doing that. So, but the bottom line of this is that in his case, the younger you are, when you get colon cancer, like if you're in your 30s, the more likely there is. I don't know anything about his case specifically, so I'm not talking about him. Not his doctor. I don't know anything about it except for what I read. But the younger you are, the more likely you are to have it. That you should definitely, that family history is much more important. Now, 70% of people who get colon cancer have no family history, so don't feel safe and say, I don't have to do screening because I don't have a family history. But if you get it younger, there may be more of a genetic component to it. There's genetic testing. Everybody out there should know your family history. And not just about colon cancer, but about everything. And I know that's a tough conversation sometimes. I'm an internist and a gastroenterologist. People come in, I say, we go over the family history. People don't know a lot. So first-degree relatives are really important. That means your parents, your children, your siblings. So horizontally and vertically both ways. And find out how old they are, what diseases they have, and especially cancer you want to know about.
Dr. LaPook, real fast before, that's all really helpful, by the way, of course. Before we go back to Alice and Emily, we have a longtime viewer who said, Dr. LaPook used to cheer us up with talk of a beginning, a middle, and an end for COVID. Will we ever progress through the beginning?
Oh,
I think I know the answer.
Yeah, I know. I think we're in the middle. We're in the thick of it right now, for sure. I think there's still some bumps in the road ahead, but we're making progress. One of the things that a lot of us are worried about that is the politicization of a lot of this, right? So we're seeing the CDC change their recommendation about screening asymptomatic people who have been exposed to COVID. A lot of controversy about was there pressure. It looks like there was pressure from HHS, Health and Human Services, on the CDC. We're hearing the FDA, who've done this emergency authorizations of a couple of things, hydroxychloroquine, that got then turned back, and then convalescent plasma, and that's controversial right now. So a lot of us are worried, a lot of people are worried that, in terms of the vaccine, or worried is the wrong word. A lot of people are concerned that the vaccine approval process should go through the normal way that it always does without politics playing a role. And the fact that there's an election coming up should not be playing a role in when we see the vaccine, whether it's through an official FDA approval or through one of these so-called emergency use authorizations. So I think we are going to get out of it. I still maintain that. I think a year from now we're going to be in really, really good shape, but we still have a little bit ahead of us.
Okay.
All right, thank you,
Dr.
Pook. We'll see you Tuesday night.
September 1st. Can you believe it's already September when we're going to see you next?
September 1st happens to be my birthday.
Your birthday?
Oh, did that slip out?
Wow.
Don't give me anything.
I'll see you September 1st.
Yeah, aren't you going to be partying without a mask with a big group of people?
Can you imagine?
I'm just
My
testing.
birthday present will be to continue to act responsibly, so I can have next year's birthday.
There
you go.
All right, we'll see you soon.
I love you guys.
Love you too. All right, let's bring back Emily Skinner. I just texted you. Check your phone, please.
Yay.
And Alice Ripley. Is this the right place? Yeah. Emily, check your phone. I just texted you donations to read.
Yay.
Okay. All right. Juliana from New York, $20. Curtis and Craig, $25. Sherry from Wisconsin, $43. I like that it's 43. It's so exact. Natalie from Massachusetts, $25. Joshua from Florida, $25. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Wait, there's it's a very sweet quote that somebody wrote to you from Joshua.
Well, I didn't know.
Thank you to these legendary.
That. Oh my gosh.
Well, it's not nice for Alice. Thank you to these legendary, strong, beautiful women. That includes all four of us. All right, next up. Gotta laugh. I love this photo, by the way. I can't tell. Is this Henry? Yes.
That's Henry.
Yeah, New York Magazine.
Wait, are you guys in wigs? You look amazing.
No,
that
it's
was
our
our
hair.
hair. We both had really long hair at the time. With that Crystal Gale hair.
That's such a cool photo. Okay, so I like I said, I've known you guys for so long. I know all your inside stories, and one of them is not this. A lot of insurance doesn't cover colonoscopies. Ignore that for now. Okay, so my inside story is
We can talk about colonoscopies. Let's continue that conversation. That's a good conversation.
We'll get back to. So please talk about Leave Me Alone into the Egyptian Number, one of my favorite Broadway stories ever.
Do you want to do it, Alice?
You mean the ba 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 ba? How we kept repeating the safety because there was a costume wardrobe malfunction or whatever.
What was supposed to happen?
All of our costumes for Sideshow, we had like literally we weren't on stage. We were manically changing costumes. We had 30-second costume changes with full wigs, full shoes, full dresses. And we each had a dresser. We each had a miraculous dresser who just ripped things off us and put new things on us.
We each had three dressers at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, and that particular moment in the show, we were finishing Leave Me Alone, and we were about to do an on-stage vaudeville number, and these chorus guys came out and did the introduction for us, and then we were revealed in an Egyptian sarcophagus as like dual, Egyptian.
The guys got the pith helmets.
Yeah, as you saw from that clip at the Macy's.
Exactly.
But that was only about 30 seconds. And so there was one day that my dresser had the understudies costumes. Preset my understudies costumes rather than my costumes. So we were trying to make that change. And my understudy, Lauren Kennedy, the wonderful Lauren Kennedy, who's a size 2, I couldn't even get my thigh in her costume. Literally crazy. And I'm like, trying to go. I'm like, I haven't gained that much weight in a day. What's happening? And Alice is like next to me, just laughing away. I'm
not helping at all. And then I almost screwed the pooch because in the sarcophagus, I'm taking over now. On the upstage side, there's one little doorway. It's not completely open. There's a little doorway that's, out of sight where you go in and you get in that way. And then the doors open on the downstage side.
To reveal you.
So it's like a secret entrance exit. And so I was so kind of nervous because now I knew they weren't taking the safety again. They were going to go straight through because you look up and there's 10 people with headsets going, what are you guys doing? What should we do? And telling you
what kept happening was when they weren't opening the sarcophagus because we were still back there changing. They just kept vamping.
Kept doing
those chorus boys just kept having to do that same little dance over and over and over again.
And so the last time we're hearing, okay, we're not going to take it again. And when they go, la, and they bump, present the upstage, the doors pop open and we're in there. And then we start our number, which was like a thing in and of itself where you can't see the horizon. It's nothing but blackness.
We missed a step, Alice.
No, but first, here's the thing where I got in the wrong order. Yeah, so I got in first. So I'm going back to the story about the door. Mm-hmm. The upstage door. I got in first, but I get in first. That means I'm on Daisy's side. Emily's on the other side, and I'm hearing the cue coming, and then I go, get out, we're on the wrong side, run, because now she has to get out first, and we have to switch, and we made it just in the nick of time, and it's all my fault because I panicked, and I got in first, which was ridiculous.
Well, Alice,
right?
The quote I remember is, I'm not doing this effing choreography on the other side. That's what I heard that you yelled.
I can safely say I said that under my breath. I probably said it because you never know when your mic is going to kick on. But I know I thought that. I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to try to do this whole thing. I wouldn't have even made it for a half of a bar. Forget it. No.
By the way, your costumes and your wigs. I mean, every time I look at these photos, so stunning. And there's Hugh Pinero. Oh my God. Did you love, to me, they were like the best wigs I've ever seen in a Broadway show. Who did your wigs?
David Brian Brown.
David Brian Brown. Amazing David Brian Brown. Yeah.
He learned everything from Paul Huntley. You don't get very much better than David. And I think that we still need wigs, just on my soapbox. We still need wigs because it's a way to control that part of the design. So it's always the same every time. And you don't have to worry about taking a toll on your own hair, which can be
But I liked it.
Because when you do your own hair, now the actors are responsible for the design of the character's hair, which really isn't. You guys, come on. We can only do so much at a time.
Comes back. Okay, so I have this clip. I love. Okay, hold on. Wait, where is it? This is. Oh, so Alice, this is you. I think I was there. This is when you were on the Rosie O'Donnell show, and you sound so fabulous in this. So I wanted to just play some of this. Yeah, I must have been watching the actual audience.
Like a fish plucked from the ocean, tossed into a foreign stream. Always knew that I was different, often fled into a dream. I ignored the raging currents, right against the tide I swam. But I floated with the question, who will love me as I am?
It's a great placement.
Wow.
It's really
She was
good.
fresh out of college, I guess. How else can I explain that? No, really, we get into this. We got into this zone. The two of us, really, it's. And the music to us, the music was so. I mean, I think the reason why we hear that and it makes you go, is because that we had never heard that music before. That was new.
Yeah.
That was new, and this other stuff, these other shows that have kind of owned Broadway for a while, they didn't exist yet. And I remember thinking, I feel so lucky that I get to try to deliver this song, because it was really incredible. It's an incredible score, especially the original version was the best. Was the best version. So there you go.
I have one of my favorite clips of you, Emily, because I've always been what am I obsessed with about you, Emily? Two things.
My hard R's.
Yes,
and my very straight Tony vibrato.
No, I do love the vibrato. No, but the riffs, the amazing riffs that are always shocking. This is your hard R. You go like a clown whose tears cause laughter. Obsessed with that, but then you go, who would want? It's this crazy quick riff. I'm obsessed with it. Listen to this. And the fluidity of this riff. It's something you added later on in the run. I'm obsessed. Listen.
Like a clown whose tears cause laughter, trapped inside the center ring. Even seeing smiling faces, I am lonely pondering
No, like how?
It's so great. You know what's amazing when you hear that, Emily? It's so fluid.
She's like, it's just what I do. I sound like creme brulee. What do you want from me?
I listened to a lot of Bonnie Raitt growing up. What do you want? I don't know what to say.
It's so cool. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with it.
If Barbara Cook could riff, there she goes.
Yes, Barbara Cook. By the way, someone just wrote, Emily, that you're giving a Dorothy Loudon vibe, and I know you're always a fan of Dorothy Loudon.
I'm giving a that's what I've morphed into now. Fantastic.
No.
I know the last time I saw Seth in the flesh.
I'll take it. I love Dorothy Loudon.
In a good way. Okay, let's talk about
we've grown into the Arlene and the Dorothy roles. Yes, we have.
We don't talk about your amazing co-star, our pal, the wonderful Norm Lewis.
Normie.
Norm
Lewis.
Violet.
Right. We'll talk about what it was like working with him. It was his first big. We're watching Scandal now, like 5 years later, but we're obsessed with him on that show. What was it like working with Normie?
Well, Norm I had seen in Tommy as well with you. I remember.
Right. You guys had a duet.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we did. I played Norm's assistant.
Right,
he was the specialist, and I was the specialist assistant.
Right.
And we sang that song, and he was like, "It seems to be completely unreceptive." And I remember thinking, okay, who sings like this? First of all, who's this handsome? And like, he had hair, like he had these fusilli, springy curls that came down to his chin length when I met him. And one day in rehearsal, he came up and he had cut all his hair off. But the first time I met Norm, he was Mr. Rasta Man with the coolest, like, spiral. Oh my God, he's a dreamboat. Okay, get in line, people. Get in line if you want to be in love with Normie, because I saw him first.
On a
Not
total
really,
side
but
note,
kinda.
when did you start doing artwork? Because we were texting before, and Alice, if you don't know, she literally started making these amazing masks
Beautiful.
with her own art on it.
I like that one.
You know, I drew this art with this tablet, so it's digital art that I make with the stylus, and I think that that's why it's transferring really well to the fabric. I'm just, you know, if you've got $35 you want to blow instead of spending it on a Metro card and something to eat, I can do this now because nobody's ever going to use a Metro card again. So I decided to get some masks made and some gloves because I went, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. I went to look for the thick knit stretchy gloves with the touch sensitive, because I like to wear gloves because I'm a little whatever. And so look, you can actually, it doesn't cost any more just to have a few made. And so I decided to put some of my artwork on it. And who knows, maybe I'll sell some or send some away or give some away. Or
where do we get it from?
You know.
What's
Well,
the
you can contact me, but you can also go to the I don't even know the name of the place right now. But I like to work with Spoonflower, but the place I worked with today it's got kind of a strange name. I don't even know it right now. But you can always contact me. I'm really easy to find, and I can help you get something if you really want one of my designs. You know, we'll figure something out. Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or Instagram. And you can always reach me on that, and I'll write you back. Ripley the band, unverified, proudly like, you know, Instagram has said I'm not a real person, so I guess I'm only half of a person until they tell me that I exist. So
okay, Emily, you know, we're raising money for the Actors Fund, and Emily, you starred in my Whorehouse concert for the Actors Fund. You were so amazing in that, by the way. And if people don't know, by the way, if you donate to Stars in the House, all the money is going to the Actors Fund. But I want to talk about the first Actors Fund concert you guys ever did, which was my first Actors Fund concert. Do you guys remember the one night Dream Girls concert?
Yes, yeah.
Dreamgirls.
That was a great concert. That was
What was it like for you guys? Like waiting backstage to go on? Was it nerve-wracking? Were you excited? What was it like?
We were listening to the concert. We were like listening to it. It was thrilling.
I felt honored, you know, because there were only like 2 roles in that show for white people, and we got them.
For white ladies, yeah.
Yeah, and there was a live band on stage, and I mean, it was just star-studded. And I had, in college, that was the album that we all were obsessed with, Dreamgirls, the cast album. And I remember back then hearing that the cast album of Dreamgirls was that they had taken 6 weeks in the studio to record a cast album, which is unheard of because, as we know, you do it in one day. You get one take. So you better make sure it's good. So that, you know, that album, by the way, if you guys haven't heard it, go listen to Dreamgirls, the original cast album. It's really incredible. I defy you. You will start moving. You will start dancing.
Oh,
there's no way you can't.
Your recording that you did of the concert, though, is really incredible.
I mean, yeah, thank you. I mean, it was the talent that was there. It was an incredible cast. I just love that, you know, just the featured roles were like you two. Remember Patrick Wilson was featured. Sara Ramirez was in the ensemble. Like
Sara Ramirez
was so good. And of course,
Patrick Wilson. Where did he go? He went to Hollywood and never came back, right? He lives in Laurel Canyon. He got lost in Laurel Canyon somewhere. So you guys, you made that happen with the Actors Fund, right? Seth and James, you guys?
Yeah.
No, we weren't together yet.
We weren't together yet. I wish I had seen it in person.
Oh my gosh, right. You know, somebody read my bio the other day and they included the star of Dreamgirls. I'm going, wow, they make it sound like I had a big role, like I played, you know, Effie.
Yeah.
Or something.
That's so good. And of course,
that was so funny.
My good pal Paul Castry was the lead singer of U2, Dave and the True Tone.
Yes, Cadillac Car. We love Paul Castry.
For people that don't remember, Cadillac Car is this really, really funky number, and Billy Porter was singing it, and it was going up the charts. And then suddenly, right when it was like at the top of the charts, it's stolen by this white dude, Paul Castry, who makes it his own. And this is what it sounded like, guys. See if you remember this night.
Just a couple of Karens.
That dress was like $79. I got it at Loman's. I forget.
You still got it. Okay, so of course the other mess up I love talking about because it just shows how connected you guys were and how brilliant you were at covering for each other was the Tony Awards, which was like 5 months after you guys closed, and suddenly you're nominated not only for Best Actress
You're
in
making
a
it
Musical,
sound
but
like
the
we
show-
messed up a lot.
Well, I know.
He lives for this. Come on, he lives for it.
Well, you know,
What about the other 99 performances we did correctly?
Because it's about, but that's what I love about live.
That's not the fun part, though.
Someone said, no, Nika Larson says that it's being professional doesn't mean you don't mess up, but it's how you recover from messing up. And that's what's amazing.
That's
You
right.
guys, like, you were brilliant. And I never even knew you messed up. So, like, years later when I watched it, I was like, oh my God, they changed it. So, talk about that night, Allison, like, what emotions came over you. It's so fascinating to me.
So I'm trying to get my cat out of the way. She's trying to knock something over.
Our dog's barking.
You know, honestly, the show was a very personal experience. I can only speak for myself, but I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody. It was very personal. It felt like a personal relationship that was suddenly ripped away from you. That's what it felt like. It was the first time I was ever in a show that closed that quickly, with an audience that was so devoted, and I was so attached to Violet. I think I'm more like Violet than most characters I've ever played. So there I was playing her, wearing her costume again. We were wearing our costumes, and I just wanted to be alone with Violet for a while. So I was getting a little emotional. But I'm a method actor, so we all know this by now that I kind of carried the character with me everywhere I go. So once I had her costume on, I was like, everybody leave me alone. I want to go off and have lunch with Violet for a couple hours. Emily, you can come too if you want, but everybody else. So, what are you going to do?
It was a curious experience being at those Toonies because our show had closed 6 months beforehand or 5 months beforehand.
Yeah.
So we hadn't sung that song or been in those costumes or stood in those wigs for 6 months, and then all of a sudden we're like pushed on the Radio City stage and go hit it, and then we walked out and people started applauding. Like we didn't even, just in us walking out before they even started the music, there was this rush of people going, "Oh my God, that show! Remember that show?"
Remember
and
the
I
actresses.
think we were a little flustered. I think we were a little,
well, in the first,
trying to get
in
our
this scene
bearings.
that's coming up, I mess up the lyrics because the first thing I'm supposed to say is, "What have we done?" But the first thing, and then the second thing I sang was, "I'm scared." So I just went right, I cut to the chase and just said, "I'm scared." And Emily's she's like, okay, I know how to get out of this. And she was right there with me, of course. And nobody would even know if we didn't point it out. But of course there would be no show if you didn't point it out. But the thing is, there I was actually with Emily again, because I hadn't seen Emily for months. Even just standing in line at Starbucks or on the street corner, waiting for the light to change. And here we were in this, she's right here, in this intimate, it's like you are alone with somebody in the moonlight and there's nobody around but you and that person. That's what it felt like to be with her again. And honestly, it was like, what are all these people doing here? I need to catch up with where I am, because it felt like it was ripped out from underneath us, and that was tough mostly because I had never experienced that before. Now I've had some experience with that, but that was the first time, and I was still in the mode of being completely open with my heart. So it wasn't just Emily, because the entire cast was on stage with us by the end of the song. Everybody. Darlene and Judy and Philip Officer and Ken and everybody and Alicia, they were on stage with us. And so, it was like, I miss you guys. I love you guys. And so, yeah, it was definitely intense. It was an intense experience. And I had done the Tonys before then, and I've done them since then. And it's never been like that before. It had never been like that. Performing on the Tonys, I've done it before where it was maybe, not easy, but that was the most challenging thing. But I felt safe, honestly, because Ems was right there, like she always was, right there. Like there's that song, "I Will Never Leave You." It really means, I'll never leave you in my heart. I'll never leave you going bereft. I'll always be there for you. And Ems, you always were there. We know this, I've told you this before. But it's the kind of thing, no matter what was happening off stage, it doesn't matter if it was good or bad or in between. When we got on stage, I saw this much of her face right here, this. And it was right there. It was just, I don't think I've ever felt such intimacy ever in my life as I did on stage with Emily. So thanks, Ems. Thanks, Emily Skinner. You're pretty amazing.
You're welcome.
What Ems?
It's so brilliant because Emily, you're so quick because, well, both of you, I love how you both adjusted. So instead of going, what have you done? Alice goes, I'm scared, Daisy. And then Emily's, because you're supposed to answer the question, what have you done? Lost our men. But Emily's like, I'm not answering a question. I have to add an actual subject. So she goes, I'm scared, Daisy. You go, we've lost our men. So smart that you literally add that. Close the door, open more, and then Alice, you're like, I already saying I'm scared, Daisy, so I'm just gonna go.
You're like, I'm getting back to what I'm trying to say. You interrupted me. I'm saying I'm scared. Did you hear me the first time I said?
It's so brilliant how you guys don't freak out. I'm obsessed with it. Oh my God, here, watch. It's brilliant.
I'm scared, Daisy. We've lost our men. Closed a door, opened more. I'm scared. What? Being alone. But you're not.
Aww.
Okay, it's so beautiful. And then the brilliant acting at the end of the singing. Unbelievable.
Brilliant.
Alice
I'm
and I
really
used to come
proud,
off stage. We used to come off stage and we'd say, we left our blood and guts on the stage floor. We
Yeah,
did.
whether we wanted to or not.
Left our blood and
It's
guts on the stage floor.
I feel really proud of us because, again, that is live singing. Live singing to a track where if you don't come in on your cue, there's no way you can make it up. They're going to have to cut to a commercial, or you're just going to have to live through it. And so, that's what we do live. It's a thing unto itself, and I'm really proud of our work on the Tonys. I'm proud of all the work that we did with Sideshow, because I never worked so hard ever in any show I've ever done. Never worked so hard, and it paid off though. It felt good.
Before we wrap up here, because I know Seth's going to send one of you more donations, what is it like to originate that particular song? That is such a perfect song, and I've sung it. I forget who I've sung it with. Maybe Gavin or Paul Castry on the back in the day on the Rosie. Both of them, Gavin Creel and Paul Castry. It's such a perfect song. With, what is it like to originate? Be the first one to sing that song, Emily. What's it like? Did you know what power and how long lasting it would be at the time when you first sung it?
No, we just knew it was a great song. We knew it was a great song, and the perfect way to end the show. They wrote the perfect songs to end that show. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know. You just think, also when you're young, you kind of think everything's going to be great. You know what I mean? Because you're just starting out and you don't realize what a gift it was, looking back, right? Don't you go oh my God, we were part of this magical show. But back then you're like, oh, it's another show I'm in. But now, your show has legendary status, man, and your performances do too.
Yeah. I'm proud of everything about that. It was old school the way it was produced. We had 2 producers. That was it. Our producer mortgaged his house a couple times to try to pay for everything. And the audience was truly devoted, and I don't know. I'd never experienced anything like that. I've never worked so hard. And when I got the audition, I remember thinking, this is like, how am I going to relate to this character? I had a little bit of a reaction that other people then had later. You know, I prejudged it. But then once I got in touch with the score and with the material, I knew exactly what it was. And I had the wrong idea at first, because the show is a love story between sisters. That's what it's about, between these cute sisters. It's not a grotesque freak show. It's not about any other character. It's not about anybody else except Daisy and Violet. You know, and so it's a beautiful story about the love between them and how they'll always be there for each other in their hearts. They'll always hold a place for them, hold a space for them. You know, that's what we would say today. And I don't know, I think that's what makes a really good relationship, I think, when you can hold a space for somebody. And so I think that's what that song is about, Who Will Love Me As I Am. But when everybody came on stage with us, I remember Bobby asking us, what do you guys think we should sing at the Tonys? Or somebody asked us, what do you think? David Chase, you know, what do you think we should sing? And we both agreed that it was Who Will Love Me As I Am, right? And then we did I Will Never Leave You. No, we did I Will Never Leave You on the Tonys. We did Who Will Love Me As I Am on the Rosie Show, right? But it was between those two. Between those two songs.
We did so many shows in the preview period. We would do the show at night, and then we would go home, and then we would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and be on the Geraldo show, the Rosie show, the Charlie Jesse Raphael show. We did so many morning shows, crack of dawn singing, where we got no recovery time at all.
No.
Because we went to sleep at 1 a.m. and then we were up at 4:30 or whatever.
Bruce Springsteen only did 5 shows a week.
Then trying to do the show at the same time, by the month into it, we were already toast.
Yeah.
Already toasted.
Keep that magic going. You gotta.
All right. Well, look, before we go, by the way, I love you sent somebody. I just want to just show some of these photos because they're just so lovely. So wait, this cuteness. We didn't look at this adorableness. Oh, that's it used to, because you guys, what's that lovely song you guys sing on your duets album? I love that was cut, but it's so great.
Ready to play?
Oh, ready to
Yes.
play. Yeah.
Now I'm ready to play.
They wrote so many great songs for Sideshow that didn't even make it into the revival. You could do a whole album of just songs that didn't fit and weren't cut. And he wrote so many great ones for their little vaudeville numbers. So many excellent ones.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I remember working on one. Weren't you guys like Birds of Paradise or something? Was that on Broadway? Or was that in the reading?
Rare Songbirds on Display.
That was in the Broadway production, but we had another version for the workshop production that was different than that. Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
And what's this cuteness?
Oh, look, I have the same haircut now, you guys.
That was
the Tonys.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is stunning.
Given Face.
All right, so in conclusion, Emily Skinner, by the way, I had a reunion of Carnegie Mellon people. I had Billy and Jack and Micah. We're going to have a ladies reunion of Carnegie Mellon with you and
reunion.
Yeah, like Eileen Caden and Natasha. So I have to bring you back. And Alice is coming back for the Next to Normal reunion. But for those that thought Next to Normal was tonight, we're going to
have.
Oh yeah, Alice, sorry. Check your phone. I sent you some more donations.
Right.
Oh yeah, Robin sent $25. Robin from New York sent $25. I have to go off camera to look at it. Sorry, you guys.
You can. It's fine.
Bravo. Kevin from Connecticut sent $50. Bravo to you both and all involved in the original Sideshow production. It was beautiful. Robin from New York, $25. Seth and James, thank you for always brightening our nights. Stuart from Maryland, sent $100. Wow. Love both Emily and Alice. Thank you so much for Sideshow. You're so welcome. Oh, well, we do it for you. Well, that was fun. Was I still on camera or was I totally off?
No, you were frozen in a quizzical face.
Was I squinting? Oh, yeah, I know. So flattering, right? Well, I mean, we do what we can with the technical side, guys.
That's right.
What do you want to do?
All right, so
we're doing pretty well.
Get your music ready, Alice. You have to move your weird microphone.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to sing a little song for you. No charge.
I'll take
no
us
extra
off
charge.
camera. Okay, I'm going to take us off. Emily will go. I'm going to go.
Let's see if we can get this going. I'm going to sing a little song for you. Maybe you can recognize it. There was a time when I flew higher. Was a time the wild girl running free would be me. Now I see her feel the fire. Now I know she needs me there to share. I'm nowhere. All these blank and tranquil years seems they've dried up all my tears. And while she runs free and fast, seems my wild days are past. But I miss the mountains. I miss the dizzy heights. All the manic magic days and the dark depressing nights. I miss the mountains. I miss the highs and lows. All the climbing, all the falling, all the while the wild wind blows, stinging you with snow and soaking you with rain. I miss the mountains. I miss the pain. Mountains make you crazy. Here it's safe and sound. My mind is somewhere hazy. My feet are on the ground. Everything is balanced here and on an even keel. Everything is perfect. Nothing's real. Nothing's real. And I miss the mountains. I miss the lonely climb, wandering through the wilderness and spending all my time where the air is clear and cuts you like a knife. I miss the mountains. I miss the mountains. I miss my life. I miss my life. Bye, Manon. No, I'm kidding. Not really.
I'm so happy to hear you sing.
Are we going to get sued? What do you think, you guys? I remember when Emily, when you saw the show at Second Stage, where the show was all over the place, and we got it together later. I remember you came, you waited in the lobby, and you had tears in your eyes because you liked it, and you were like, "Al, this is the perfect show for you. It's perfect." And I was like, "Yeah, because I'm crying through the whole thing." It's so easy for me to cry. This life is just a veil of tears, you guys.
All right, so Emily, you're gonna come back. People, by the way, just loved your performance inside. So there's so many great comments that you can't see, and Al has so many great comments about your singing right now. All right, so any other news we have to say about Stars in the House?
No, we'll be back on Tuesday. There's gosh, I'm blanking.
Smokey Joe's reunion Tuesday.
That's right.
Curtains Wednesday.
What's our play tomorrow? I'm blanking right now. We have a play tomorrow
We have a
too,
big play.
and
The Smell of the Kill.
There we go.
Remember that play from Broadway? That's back and better than ever.
Tomorrow too. And Andrea Burns is here on Monday.
And we got some big TV show readings coming up. We're not really allowed to
And you
announce
have
them
your
yet,
and you have your for your concert series tomorrow night with Sierra Boggess.
I have my concert with Sierra Boggess at 8 o'clock tomorrow. All right, guys, great seeing you. I'm going to play out with some music. Let me see what I still remember from my days playing the readings for the show.
Oh, wow. Okay. Bye, Alice. Bye, Emily. Thank you.
Bye. Love you.
Love you too.
Love you, Ems.
What the hell is it? Say, no. Oh my God.
For I will never leave you.